although if someone wished to propose one, we would report that back to the councillors.
Absolutely.
So what you saying?
There are only 5 options.
No, the second bit of it, do you need me to propose
If someone proposes that, then we'd include
I'm
that
happy
in
for
our
it to go
report.
in there, because one of my boards, Pookie Tapapa, supported that. Can you tell me who the other one was, because I haven't been able to find it? I think we should be generous with the options as opposed to the...
Well, we've got this recommendation. You can just put that in the paper. Just insert it in the paper. Just make sure that option goes out.
That's what I'm asking for. Yeah.
I mean, we've got the recommendation. Let's start with the recommendation, but make sure that scenario is there for people to reflect on. Councillor Linda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think when this money was offered up, we actually said as a governing body, let's put this out to the local boards. And that's what we've done, and we've got all this information back from the local boards, but at the same time we're also consulting with the public. I think it's pretty clear that it's difficult no matter which way you cut it, but I think most of the local boards have been pretty generous in saying, look, we might lose out here a little bit, but there's some capital money really missing from places like Great Barrier and Waiheke if we just think of ourselves, and I think that's been pretty generous from the local boards. They know they're going to get a bit of a cut, but they also see their sister, brother, local boards will need to be supported. So this is an option put out. We've got all the information. Let's just put it out there to the public and see what comes back, and let's listen to what they say.
Yep, I totally support that. Councillor Cam, your final say here?
Thank you. This is more than plus or minus 5% for the Central Isthmus local boards, though, isn't it, Andrew? When you factor in the fact that they're losing their facility partnership projects, some have commented here that that's a loss of $4 million across the Isthmus, and even with scenario A, the best case scenario, collectively the Central Isthmus local boards are going to be down 1.4 million on capital spendability. And so I suppose my question is, what's the feedback from those Central Isthmus local boards as to where this is at?
I don't have off the top of my head the feedback by board area. My reference to the plus or minus 5% was between the options that are presented in the report. It's possible, with the capital fund for local projects, that's all been put into the $10 million and then made sure there's a fair share across the city. When the same thing was done with the operating expenditure across the city, some of the central boards would have done quite a bit better than some of the other boards. It's just a matter of making sure that all the boards have a fair access to both capital and operating expenditure, and the proposals that you're considering here provide for that going out into the future. Now, any Beth?
Any projects that have already been agreed to under that facilities fund will continue to be funded separately from this, so that money hasn't disappeared.
Okay. All right, well, as a starting point, councillors, we'll get this back. Councillor Alf.
No, just the process issue, Your Worship, just around what you're saying about putting the other options on, just to ensure that it doesn't need...
Oh, it just needs to be in the paper. Just put it in the paper.
We will...
So this is what's been agreed thus far.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that what you just said as well is put into there.
I have I'll be very surprised if someone doesn't stick down and say 20% deprivation.
So item D in the resolutions provides a mechanism for us to do that in the consultation document, and Beth will be diving off to do it immediately.
Yep, Ben.
I know I'm supposed to be regional rather than parochial, but I must say, under 25% population, 5% deprivation, Rodney gets 385,000. Under the one proposed 660,000. We heard about distance before. We've actually got quite unique communities: Kumu, Helensville, Wellsford, Warkworth, Lee, Tahana and Puhoi. Under one scenario they might get about 50,000 and on the other 100,000. So, you know, the idea that you cannot have 46% of the region reflected in how you fund these boards is ridiculous.
Okay. Yep.
Just a question of information, Mr Mayor. I'm assuming this table's going out. Is this table going to go out with the consultation, this entire table?
Yeah.
Well, no, there'll be a new column in it now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There we go. We can be flexible. Okay. I think I've moved it. Is it seconded by Linda? Yeah. Right. I'll move that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, passed. Right. Good luck out there. Right. Councillor Callum. Okay. Hildegard. All right. We have someone who deserves our acknowledgement today.
Morning, councillors.
We have gone from, I understand this is the final attendance of Hildegard here. I'm not going to speak long because I'm going to ask Councillor Callum to speak. But I will say that 166 bylaws to 20. Am I right?
Just 158.
158. You shouldn't have corrected me. I mean, 166 is a much nicer rounder number. 158 to 20 has been one of the most massive and significant tasks for a united city, and we've just had the loopy rules report come out of government where they've looked to reduce bureaucracy, and one of the hopes of the super city was that we would clarify things and amalgamate some of our rules. And Hildegard, you and the team have been outstanding in your service through that time. So I'm going to, on our behalf, ask your chair, with whom you've had a very, very good working relationship. I don't know how you put up with them, but I'm going to ask Councillor Cal to acknowledge you formally, please.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship, and I suppose I want to start off first of all just by acknowledging Glenn here today too. I suppose we should really be classed as a councillor. It should be really Councillor Wilcox, because he spends a hell of a lot of time with us, from one length of the region to the other, and he's been involved in this process since day dot, since the inception in 2010. And I just want to acknowledge again my predecessor, Councillor Des Morrison, who was instrumental in part of this process as you appointed him as the Chair of Regulatory and Bylaws in 2010, Your Worship. And Des was a man of integrity and he had a way of doing things. And I just want to put that on the table. To where we are today in 2015. And having a talk with the team over the last few days, it's a bit of a milestone really. And as the team have probably equated to the unitary plan process, bringing all the 8 district council plans together in one. And that mammoth task is still underway. From where we are today, with 158 bylaws from 8 legacy councils, and under statute to have completed by October 2015, to where we've landed today at 20 bylaws for this region, says something on its own. It tells the people of Auckland that we're not here to complicate things. We're here to actually simplify things and make it workable and doable for the people of Auckland. And it can't be done without the expertise and the knowledge of our staff. And I want to acknowledge Hildegard on this particular case, because he's been here from day one. And I know Councillor Morrison, and I know myself, and I know my other council colleagues around the table have driven him daft over that time. Hence why he's got probably here today. But you know, he's taken the community of Auckland with us, is what we wanted him to do. I also want to acknowledge the 10 plus councillors that have been involved in this process from day one. It's an arduous process. It's a process that, you know, the next bylaw's coming up, hours and days of reading, and then of course you get the media that hammer you. You know, what are you going to do to Auckland? Whether it was through the crematorium and whether it was through, you know, the life jackets, as Councillor Fletcher has just said. We took 10,000 bodies of Auckland with us. And we have a different bylaw to what Northland and Waikato have. And now they're wishing that they probably should have rolled the same bylaw out. And actually a template across our region, across our country. Because the bodies of Auckland, all 10,000 plus of them, are absolutely wrapped with the outcome that we landed on. but we did it together, united together. And I'm also told that a number of our territorial authorities across the country are now looking at what we've actually done in our regulatory area, in our bylaws area, and have followed suit. Whether it's water care services bylaw, or whether it's public safety and nuisance bylaw, trade and events in public places, property maintenance and nuisance bylaws, dealing with infrastructure, signage, stormwater, solid waste and traffic issues, we've done it. I also want to say that it brings all parts of the organisation, our CCOs, through to Auckland Transport, ATED, our legal services, and more in particular, our local boards, all 21 of them. As I said to you, it's an arduous process because you've got to try and keep everyone happy. And it's not easy done, as you know, Your Worship. I just want to highlight people, just while I've got the floor for a couple of minutes. Alcohol Control Bylaw 212, Animal Management Bylaw 215, Cemeteries and Crematoria Bylaw 214, Dog Control Bylaw and Policy 212, Food Safety Bylaw 213, Health and Hygiene Bylaw 213, Navigation Safety Bylaw 212, Outdoor Fire Bylaw 214, Property Maintenance and Nuisance Bylaw, Solid Waste Bylaw 212, Stormwater Bylaw, Trade Waste Bylaw 212, administrated by Water Care Services, Traffic Bylaw 215, Water Care, Water Supply 215, administrated by Water Care, Auckland Council and Auckland Transport, Public Safety and Nuisance Bylaw 213, Signage Bylaw 215, Trade and Events in Public Places Bylaw 215, Auckland Transport Election Signs and Bylaw, Speed Limits Bylaw and Traffic Bylaw. That's not including our LAP that we've went through as well, under Councillor Cashmore. So we've had a real chunky bit of work over the last 5 years. To say anything after today will be a new bylaw. And we have got a couple of things to tidy up in the new year, and that's around freedom camping, barbed wire fences and wharves, etc. But I'm sure we will achieve the outcomes that we want in due process. So, Mr Mayor, without further ado, I'm happy to move the public nuisance safety bylaw that we've got in front of us today for properties. Councillor Cooper, I'm sure, will second that. She was on that part of the working party with it. And yeah, happy to front of the comments.
Very, very good. I think we need to give the chair, the committee, particularly our officers, a big round of applause.
Well done.
Well, I was just going to say, moving second for item 15, is there any debate on item 15? No, I'm going to
I couldn't not, Helgard, it's your last meeting. Can I just say, having worked with Helgard over 2 different councils, and I've never really actually been on the bylaws committee, I've always gone along, but just because I'm interested. And I'd just like to say that, Helgard, you're an exemplary officer, and we have had many, many robust, free and frank debates about bylaws over the years. And, you know, if every officer of council was like you, Helgard, we would be the most amazing organisation. Thank you so much. My question is... What? I didn't hear it. Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. No. Oh, God. Sorry. Rome, I meant that.